Live from historic Dunn Field, it's once again time for Elmira Pioneers baseball. As for the second consecutive day, the Pios are home, and the third time in as many ball games as today. They'll embark on a 14-inning journey beginning with Game 1, a 7-inning doubleheader against the Batavia Muckdogs. Good afternoon, everybody. For the Elmira Pioneers Baseball Network, I'm Farrell Hudson. We'll have your live pregame and game coverage today as the Pios look to salvage a second consecutive victory and get themselves firmly back in the win column. Despite only playing 4 games on the season, the Pioneers come in today trailing second place Batavia by 2 games. Hence, you take home 2 victories today, and the Pios could be in really good shape to get their season back on the right track. It began on Tuesday night with a 7-5 victory here over the Auburn Double Days, a game in which the Pios got behind 4-0 in the top of the first. It was not easy by any stretch of the imagination. Luke Horton gave up 4 runs in the first inning. 3 came off the bat of Michael G. Martino, the designated hitter for the Double Days, who hit a 2-out 3-run shot down the right field line. And then after that, after an error hit batsman, an RBI single from Jed Strange T-Gear made it 4-0, but it wasn't out of reach because of TJ Grimesti. In the bottom of the first, right after Cooper Smith walked to be aboard with 1 out, Grimesti launched a 2-run shot, an absolute laser beam into left field, which got the Pioneers back in the ball game and got it to 4-2. And then just like that, an inning later, after putting up a 0, the Pioneers built momentum and scored 3 runs of their own in the bottom of the second inning, and it was followed up by Cooper Smith and TJ Grimesti, the 2 and the 3 in the order. So important, doing the job for the Pioneers to take the lead in that one. Then in the top of the 5th on Tuesday night, Auburn did come back to score a run to tie the game. Again, the walks and the defense continuing to be a bit of a thematic issue right now with the Pioneers. Hence, their 1-3 beginning has kind of relied on the souls of that. The Pioneers not always finding it with the bats either. 17 runs sprinkled across 4 games. We'll talk a little bit more about some of their inefficiencies, but to find out more on the thoughts about the Elmira Pioneers, let's turn it over to the Clubhouse Report, as earlier this afternoon I was fortunate enough to speak with the manager of your Elmira Pioneers, and Andy Drum.
I'm pleased to be joined on the Clubhouse Report by the manager of the Elmira Pioneers and Andy Drum before this afternoon's doubleheader with the Batavia Muckdogs. Coach, you get your first win of the season a couple days ago against Auburn. What are the vibes right now as you enter today?
Energy's high today. Everyone's excited to play 2 games, hopefully get back to 500 after today. I know it's tough to win 2 games of a doubleheader, but we're rolling out 2 really tough lineups.
What were some of the things that you saw on Tuesday night that allowed you guys to get your first victory of the season?
We were gritty throughout the whole game, we were down, 4-0, I think, to start that game. TJ came out and hit a home run, made it 4-2, kind of brought the life right back to us. If we can eliminate those big 3- and 4-run innings, especially unearned runs, I think we're going to be in really good shape.
And speaking of those unearned runs, defensively, you never want to harp on the negatives, but it's been a bit of an issue. What are you thinking about that so far, and what measures are you taking to improve the defense?
These guys are taking a lot of fungos out there, taking a lot of ground balls. That's the big thing I see right now. Pitchers just need to compete, get ahead early, and we have to play clean defense for a full 9 innings. For
the pitchers falling behind, you go up against a Batavia team today, a collective .323 batting average. Granted, it's only 8 games into the season, but is that an area of concern for you?
As long as we can get ahead early, I think we're going to be fine. Get that first pitch strike and then let the pitchers control the at-bat. But when we fall to these 2-0, 3-1 counts, they're sitting fastball, and they're usually getting hits off of it.
You spoke about TJ's offensive jolt. What was that like on Tuesday night? He's leading the league right now in batting average at .636. What has he meant to this team?
He's got a really good bat. Even when he catches the ball off the end of the bat, it still seems like it comes off at 100 miles an hour. So for being a smaller guy, he has a ton of pop.
A spot start last night in the scrimmage for Sawyer Carlton. Now Owen Hoyt makes his season debut today. What are you looking forward to seeing from him?
We're excited to have Hoyt back. He was a dog for us down the stretch last year in July. He put up really good numbers at Oswego this year. I believe he was 0.91 whip, so we're excited to get him out there on the mound.
And Brendan Hayes going game 2. What have you liked that you've seen from Brendan so far?
I'm excited for Brendan today because he wants the ball. He wanted this game really bad. His coach from Barry, Ben Twilliger, is coming up to watch him today, so he's excited to get on the mound, and he wants this game bad.
How bad does the team want it after considering the game 13 days ago against Batavia?
I think they're ready, especially after the showing that we had. We played really bad up there. Game 2, pitching wasn't there. We didn't play defense. I thought we swung it well that day. I know we only put up, 1 run, I think, but I thought we had some good approaches at the plate. I like the aggressiveness, but we haven't played them in a clean baseball game yet, so I think they're going to see a different team tonight.
What have you liked about the offensive approach so far? You guys are least in the league with only 30 strikeouts across 4 games.
Yeah, after the first game I was a little nervous. I think we had 9 or 10 strikeouts, 5 or 6 of those looking. We've really changed the approach. Guys are being aggressive at the plate. We're expanding the zone. The umpires aren't the best in this league at times, so expanding it with 2 strikes, and I think it's working out for us.
Coach, thanks and best of luck.
Thank you.
So there you have it, Andy Drum talking a little bit pregame today, and yeah, there's been a lot of bright spots for the Pioneers despite this 1-3 beginning. You can't really get a gauge when you're still less than 10% of a season in. You had a scrimmage last night against Syracuse that you were unfortunate to lose. You had a 6-4 lead going into the top of the 6th, so like I said when I was talking to Coach Drum earlier, you definitely don't want to continue to harp on the negative things, but for the Pioneers, defense is certainly an improvement, something that we're going to get to when we talk about the starting lineups, because last night in the outfield, still a couple suspect plays on defense that are not helping out pitchers, and you can't afford to give Batavia any extra at-bats going into this afternoon's ball game. They're batting .323, which is second currently in the 15-team Perfect Game Collegiate League Conference, only trailing the Newark Pilots, who have begun 4-1-1 in the PGCBL West Division. They're in third place right now, just ahead of Jamestown and just behind Batavia, so the Pioneers certainly do have their work cut out for them, beginning with this afternoon's ball game, the pair of 2 ball games today. To be quite frank, I mean, you have 4 teams right now with an over 500 record, 5 teams out of the 8-team Western Division that have at minimum a 500 record. Auburn sitting in 5th place right now at 3-3-1. The Pioneers at 1-3. The Niagara Ironbacks, the newest team in the PGCBL, at 1-4, and the Geneva Red Wings at 0-6. But certainly going to be a bit of an uphill climb. You're going up against a Batavia squad, like I mentioned, batting .323, second right now, and their on-base percentage .438, which is third right now. Good news for the Pioneers, though, is Coach Drum was alluding to the lack of strikeouts, especially since that opening game against Jamestown where 9 Pioneers came to the plate. They struck out 2/3 of those strikeouts in the ball game came looking. Since then, only 20 strikeouts for the Pioneers across 3 games. You look at the Amsterdam Mohawks, clear and by far the best team in the PGCBL, a 9-1 record across 10 games this year. They've been doing it once again, seem destined for potentially their 4th consecutive PGCBL championship, and they got 79 strikeouts in 10 games. The Pioneers have 30/4. You equate that to the 10-game pace that Amsterdam's on right now, and you look at the Pioneers having about 7.5 strikeouts per ball game. That's roughly the average right now where the Mohawk Valley Diamond Dogs and Glens Falls Dragons stand, for any of those who are curious about both the Glens Falls Dragons and Mohawk Valley. Mohawk Valley is at 4-4, Glens Falls at 3-5, so you're looking at about a middle-of-the-pack offensive lineup for the Pioneers. You certainly have your jolts at the top of the order. Cooper Smith and Aiden Grabowski, not only are they returners, but just usual suspects to get on base. Cooper Smith batting .333 early on this season for the Pioneers, and as we alluded to, TJ Grimesti has been unbelievable. A .636 batting average. You can only put as much stock as 3 games are worth. We know baseball is such a long season, but for Grimesti, 7 for 11 so far with a homer, 6 RBIs, 7 hits, as we mentioned, and a couple of those come in extra base hits. He's a threat to steal, and behind the plate, he can throw runners out with the best of them. Certainly an exciting player for the Pioneers. Another guy that they're going to start to insert into the lineup more, and you're going to see appear in this game 1 of the doubleheader, is Anthony Manganello. He made his debut in the exhibition last night for the Pioneers, and he had a 2-run single in the bottom of the 4th inning. At that point, that knotted the ball game even, if you remember, or rather gave the Pioneers the lead. They were down 3-0 to Syracuse as they entered the bottom of the 4th inning yesterday, and they were able to have a 6-4 lead, as we mentioned, going into the 6th inning. Still a bit of tumble, roll the dice to see what lineup stuck best for Coach Drum, but you can't put as much stock into yesterday's ball game. You got a spot start from Sawyer Carlton making his season debut for the Pioneers, and then you had Jacob Moniz regularly come in for both the 6th and the 7th inning, so you put as much stock as that game is worth in last night with a 7-inning, 11-8 loss to Syracuse, but you move on to this afternoon in the Pioneers lineup, more of what you'll usually see for Game 1. You'll have Ben Rohde, the center fielder, to lead it off. Cooper Smith at first base will bat second. TJ Grimesti, we alluded to him, he's behind the plate. He'll bat third. Anthony Manganello, the designated hitter. He'll bat fourth. Brendan Hammer out of Northwood University. 2 games played, or this is his second game on the season for the Pioneers. He'll bat fifth and play third base. Shane Starr in left field out of Franklin and Pierce College. He'll bat sixth. Aiden Grabowski back to the shortstop position out of Tiffin University. Second-year Pioneer, who's also spent some time in the extra hitter role. That extra hitter role, speaking of which, belongs to the 8-hitter tonight in Henry Jackson, who appeared in the scrimmage as well yesterday. Kosei Ogura is in right field. Kosei got the start at third base against Syracuse last night. He'll bat ninth. Jacob Mona is rounding out the batting order out of Rhode Island College. He'll play second base. And Owen Hoyt will take the mound for the Pioneers tonight. We'll get to the pitching matchup in just a few moments, but first let's shift over to the Batavia Muckdogs starting lineup. Kanto Ueno is the second baseman out of Houghton University. He'll lead it off. Tyler Castratero, the shortstop out of Mayapack, New York, and an attendee of Hofstra University. He'll bat second. Braden Horton out of the University of Oklahoma, formerly a teammate of the Pioneers. John Simmons, as his time was spent in Virginia with the Liberty Flames. He'll bat third. Justin Espinal at first base will do the cleanup. Jackson Inman, the third baseman out of Salisbury University. He'll bat fifth. Cooper Romick behind the plate. He's from Lemoyne College. Brian Fry in center field. The recent transfer from the University of Toledo, played a couple seasons over there, and now he's back locally in Brockport, New York with SUNY Brockport. He'll bat seventh. Jacob Vesco in right field out of the University of Dayton. He'll bat eighth. Braden Reyna is the designated hitter in game one. He'll bat ninth, and the extra hitter, Luke Diadana, rounding out the batting order. We're getting pretty close to baseball. Pioneers and Muckdogs for the second time this season. Once again, 13 days ago, Batavia taking home a 13-1 victory in a rematch of last year's dramatic PGCBL Western Division title game in which the Pioneers got behind 2-0. You had the suspended game, and a day later, rather, they travel back to Batavia, storm back to win that game 6-3. So, as our general manager of the Pioneers, Mark Witt, alluded to, he said they were out for blood in that game. It was clear, but as Coach Drum also said in his press conference today, I think Batavia is seeing a team a different time around. Now, you never want to speak too many positives about a 13-1 loss. There's really not much sugarcoating you can do about that, but one thing where I think the Pioneers can turn it into a positive lens for them today is, hey, Batavia did see the poorest version of the Pioneers, and only, as Coach Drum mentioned, what was game 2 of the season and the way they were swinging the bats in that opening weekend, suffice it to say, certainly bothered him. So you're going to see definitely a different go-round this time around. We'll take a short timeout. We got national anthems, lineups, first pitch in baseball upcoming here from Dunn Field. Your Elmira Pioneers and the Batavia Muckdogs. Stay with us on the Elmira Pioneers Baseball Network. That's Kyla Stefanini for the Pioneers performing this afternoon's national anthem as the Batavia Muckdogs and Elmira Pioneers are set to get underway. Once again, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Farrell Hudson for the Elmira Pioneers Baseball Network. As your Pios and Muckdogs square off for a second time this season, the Elmira Pioneers have taken the field behind their starting pitcher in Owen Hoyt. For Hoyt, this is his first appearance as an Elmira Pioneer. He'll work from the left side of the rubber, formerly of the University of Massachusetts at Lowell, and a local native of Endicott, New York. Went to Union Endicott High School over in Broome County, about 45 miles east of Dunn Field here in Elmira, and he'll make the start against a very competitive offensive roster today in the Batavia Muckdogs. He'll get his starting warm-up tosses in, and we'll take a look at the Batavia starting lineup once again. Kanto Ueno, the second baseman out of Houghton, he'll lead off. Batting second, Tyler Castratero, the shortstop from Hofstra University. Braden Horton out of the University of Oklahoma. He's in left field and he'll bat third. Justin Espinal is at first base. He'll do the cleanup for the Muckdogs. Jackson Inman is at third. He'll bat fifth. Cooper Romick, the catcher, he'll bat sixth. Brian Fry is in center field. He'll bat seventh. Jacob Vesco in right field will bat eighth. Braden Reyna, the designated hitter, he'll bat ninth, and Luke Diadana, the extra hitter, he'll bat 10th. Both Joey Skip Martinez, the manager for the Batavia Muckdogs, and Andy Drum, your manager for the Pios. This is the Pioneers' fifth full game of the regular season. Once again, 2 suspended games. That will be made up next week. You have Geneva coming into town on Tuesday. The Pios have an 8-3 lead in the bottom of the 4th inning, so only 9 outs to get in that ball game, as it has been condensed now to a 7-inning ball game. They'll take on Batavia for roughly a 4 p.m. first pitch Tuesday here, June 17th from Dunn Field. Then you look next week also at the Newark Pilots on June 21st. That game will be made up too. So the start of a very busy doubleheader stretch. Pioneers are home for the doubleheader this afternoon. Then they'll travel up the road to play the Geneva Red Wings, who are going through some really tough times. 0-6 on the season, and then they come back home, the Pioneers do, to play the Niagara Falls Americans here on Sunday afternoon. For now, it's a beautiful, warm Friday afternoon, and we're glad that you could spend some of it with us on the Elmira Pioneers Baseball Network. Hoyt, a transfer now to the University of Oswego, kicks in from the left side of the rubber, and the first pitch of the ball game is a fastball that he spots on the outside corner for a called strike one to Ueno. Start time 4:06 p.m. in Game 1. 2 7-inning ball games today between Batavia and Elmira. Next pitch is lofted in the air to left field. Camping under it is Shane Starr. 2 pitches and 1 out to begin this afternoon's ball game. So Ueno, the second baseman, is retired, and here comes the shortstop, Tyler Castratero. Hoyt this year just only 2 appearances with the Lakers, 2 2/3 innings of work. Ground ball to third, picked nicely on the short hop by Hammer. The throw across the diamond, and it skips by Cooper Smith.